Um, Good morning, guys. I'm sorry I didn't. Um, I mean, good morning. I'm sorry I didn't get a live stream um, up last night. I was really tired and kind of overwhelmed. I will be doing it though this morning. When I get back up, I'm gonna see. I don't know if I'm gonna lay back down or not. I'm really riled up. And this right here with John B. Wells, dose of straight talk last night, kind of sums up some of my fears. And well, uh, I'm not really fearing any of this as much. I have fear for those that aren't aware. You know what I mean? Uh, my heart goes out to the sheeple and the NPCs and the lost souls and things, because I know what it means to be a lost soul. I've spent many lives being lost, and um, uh, this life I've been graced with a lot of things, and I just want to share my knowledge with everybody as best I can. But there's a force that has always kept me back in the shadows, and nobody can hear my voice in the wilderness. Until here recently, where BitChute allowed me a platform last year up until here now, and then Steve Benoon offered me his platform. I showcased my video, brought all you guys in, and from now on, it's going to be real interesting times here on my channel, and for you guys, especially you guys that are just discovering some of these things. Um, I, I'm I'm gonna be real blunt about some stuff, and curtail your criticism uh, to your own other circles of friends and stuff. Don't bring it in to my realm and disturb my train of thought to focus on you as a troll or anything, and direct my energy towards you, because right now my energy levels are maxing out and are really helpful or really destructive. So you don't want me focused on you in a bad way. Just letting everyone know that right now. Okay. So I mean, I've got EMF shielding in my hat and everything. I'm good to go, and I've got so much metaphysical protections in that I've had for years. I'm not worried about jack shit for my safety. It's y'all's safety. And here's the rest. This is about 25 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know how long I'm going to play it. Maybe till the end, I guess. Um, but uh, this is for you guys, for you targeted individuals, for Snow Monkey, especially for Snow Monkey. This is for Snow Monkey, and for 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 Frigga, you know, and some of my other targeted individual friends that I know pay attention to my channel, but have not spoken out yet. I feel you guys. I fucking feel you guys. Uh, and even if even the shadow watchers that don't get counted on the view counter, I know who's watching me. I know the presence. I can feel you in the afterlife and point you out, guaranteed, of who's who's gotten my information and my teachings and things. Um, so I've never been bothered. I've never been well, at one time I was a targeted individual, and I scared the living bejesus out of them, and they haven't bothered me since. The ABC agencies don't want anything to fucking do with this guy here. Uh, uh, Zorstar made sure of that, but you guys, if I seem to be a little pompous about myself, that's because I've earned that. I'm not some 20-year-old or 30-year-old. You know, I'm in my 40s. I've earned a lot of things. I have not served this country in military service, but I have in other ways, and I have served the people in other ways, especially my local um, localities here, from the very poor to the very rich. You know, so a lot of the things that I say that seem uh, narcissistic or out there, very pompous and self-absorbed, and I've earned that. So I try to curtail those things. But anyway, I'll continue after John B. Wells here speaks. I don't have the camera on right now. It's it's full 4:30 in the morning, and you can't see me well anyway. So the sound of my voice there is no frequency being played on this video, but I will be doing frequencies here um, soon in some other videos, maybe my next live stream. But I'm kind of saving those. I'm kind of saving the frequencies for specific. Uh, when I start calling people out here in the next few weeks, you'll understand, and you guys will know the videos you might want to turn down or not have headphones on with if you really want to listen to them. Some of them you're not going to want to listen to. So, just saying. And I'll put out some sort of flag warning that will notify my compatriots that this video is not for you. It's for the other side, the the ones we don't fare too well with. So you guys enjoy. I'm sorry I kept you from the video. If now, I'll leave a little thing in the description to skip to 8 minutes here if you don't want to listen to me jab. So,
all right, you'll be doing yourself a favor. Now, what told us about directed energy weapons? There was an article there at jellyfish.news about Havana Syndrome. You know, this started, I want to say, back in the 90s when the American Embassy in Moscow had some people who were experiencing some really, really weird things, headaches and ear ringing and noises in their ears and all kinds of crazy stuff. And it turns out that they were being bombarded with microwave. Well, with every passing year, the tech increases pretty much exponentially, certainly on an order of magnitude, certainly times 10 every year. Just one order of magnitude, in many cases more than that. Just depends on what they come across and when they come across it over the course of that year. So this article is entitled The Ultimate Guide to DEW Manifestations of Anomalous Health Incidents. Now that's AHI, Anomalous Health Incidents. And this was written by Celeste Solem for Shepherd's Heart. Years ago, I followed a quiet news story about diplomats in Cuba who were suddenly attacked by a mysterious neurological affliction. For make that back of a letter word or a lack of a better word, okay? There was little in the news except for media covering obscure military topics. There are certain individuals whom I follow who are key players in the deployment of advanced technologies. And one of those individuals is Dr. James Giordano, who made vague references of his involvement in several of his military presentations. Dr. James Giordano, who I nicknamed Dr. Evil, provides us deep intel on what is now known as Havana Syndrome that will likely impact you. Who is Dr. Giordano? He has impressive credentials. He's been strategically placed to forge neurological weaponry policy and deployment. His accomplishments include Distinguished Fellow in Science, Technology, and Ethics at the Stockdale Center of the United States Naval Academy, Bioethicist of the U.S. Defense Medical Ethics Center, Professor in the Departments of Neurology and Biochemistry, Chief of the Neuroethics Studies Program, and Chair of the Sub-Program in Military Medical Ethics at Georgetown University Medical Center. Many people who follow alternative media began hearing about a phenomenon that began in Cuba in 2016, in which government, diplomatic, and military personnel were suddenly struck by an unknown phenomenon called anomalous health incidents, or Havana Syndrome. Quote, one of the most dramatic episodes involved a U.S. military officer stationed in a country with a large Russian presence. As the officer pulled his car into a busy intersection, he suddenly felt as though his head were going to explode. His 2-year-old son in a car seat in the back started screaming. As the officer sped out of the intersection, the pressure in his head ceased, and his son went quiet. A remarkably similar incident was reported by a CIA officer who was stationed in the same city and who had no connection to the military officer. That's excerpted from Our U.S. Officials Under Silent Attack by Adam Entous, E-N-T-O-U-S, The New Yorker, May 24th, 2021. Officials have been afflicted around the world in such places as Washington, D.C., Guangzhou, China, Vienna, Austria, and most recently in Hanoi, Vietnam. So serious is the situation that a memorandum was issued by the Secretary of Defense stating, quote, every soldier, sailor, airman, marine, guardian, civilian employee, and covered contractor has a responsibility to report suspected incidents through all appropriate channels, end quote. Okay. Now, as Dr. Giordano is the foremost expert on neurological weaponry and the use of energy weapons to alter conflict, it is reasonable to seek out what nuggets we might acquire to both understand and prepare for neurological energy weapon attacks upon the average citizenry. Giordano was contacted in early 2017 by colleagues from the U.S. Department of State to develop abductive forensic analysis and to speculate as to what substances and/or devices could cause the reportedly clinically observed effects in government personnel. He presented his analyses on Havana Syndrome to key governmental agencies and maintains ongoing discussions with the U.S. Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Secret Service. According to Giordano, there are over 100 validated cases of persons afflicted and suffering from Havana Syndrome. The actual number is probably much higher. According to the Centers for Disease Control, in the 1990s, this is a quote, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention conducted population-based surveillance for, quote, unexplained death and critical illness, end quote, in persons less than 50 years of age, with features suggestive of infectious cause at 4 sites in the United States, and found a surprisingly high incidence of 0.5 cases per 100,000 per year. Havana Syndrome presents as a constellation of signs and symptoms that can manifest differently in varying combinations in affected individuals. Acute symptoms can include sensations of pressure in the head, ringing or buzzing in the ears, or feelings of confusion and/or disorientation. Some individuals also report an acoustic component, such as a chirping, pinging, or buzzing sound. As it progresses, symptoms include persistent decreased attentiveness, diminished executive skills, memory deficits, as well as increasing motoric and behavioral features. Clinical signs can also include vertigo, nausea, disruption in sleep, and problems with motor coordination. Clinical investigations show that there are changes in the vestibular function of the inner ear, responsible for our sense of positional orientation, balance, movement, coordination, and eye tracking. Neuropsychologically, a person suffers from deficit learning and diminished memory, concentration, planning, and handling of psychological multitasking referred to as cognitive load. Daily routines for Havana victims are arduous and difficult. For most of the affected individuals, the symptoms are persistent with discernible neurological features that are evident upon physiologic testing and imaging. The long-term prognosis appears to be varied due to 2 factors: the device used to inflict biological, neurological, and physical damage to the person, and of course, the duration of exposure. Giordano speculates that these individuals were exposed to some sort of directed energy weapon. Drilling down, he believes it was some sort of acoustic or ultrasonic energy weapon that produced a cavitation-like effect that disrupts the soft tissue and fluid compartments in the head, especially in the inner ear. This cavitation process bubbles within the inner ear fluids as well as the blood, thereby disrupting the local tissue, both functionally and structurally. The bubbly also disrupts the integrity of the blood flow from the base of the skull to the brain, primary housing of your primal brain stem, thus impacting even your most basic activities and perceptions. Think of it as taking a bulb syringe with the fizziest soda you have ever consumed, injecting it into your brain with the intent to destroy your body. Okay, you might wonder what the purpose of this technology is other than to further dumb down the population. Well, as waves of biological weaponry are released in coordination with a dramatic alteration of the electrical frequency spectrum that we survive in, tips us to the point of death, there is something more nefarious that Giordano does not mention. It comes to us from the NASA Strategic Warfare 2025 presentation, along with a special 232-page military document that was released in December 2020, both of which in essence say, get your head ready for this. Forbidden technology is being deployed, including the COVID vaccination, to gut your physical body like a fish, making your body a habitation, a container, for demons, fallen angels, and aliens. Your mind is already being cavitated through
Fifth, sixth, and
chemicals,
seventh dimensional
neuroweapons,
entities.
and psychological operations that will make you an empty container, serving as a receptacle to usher the dream new world order into existence, the virtual twin syndrome. Using artificial intelligence, the AI neural attendant captures, records, evaluates, and reports your bodily information into a counterfeit book of life. When you take the COVID vaccine, you accept transfer of ownership of your immortal soul and your body to alien masters. For more details on this military operation, you can view the video or see my Dark Winter coverage and documentation. There was discussion as to whether cavitation amplified within the inner ear would be capable of generating a communicating effect to the brain. Giordano believes that the direct arterial blood flow from the inner ear to the brain would be vulnerable to these cavitation effects, creating a disruption in blood flow, primarily in the small arterial branches, which would incur downstream effects to produce neurological features very similar to what is seen in decompression sickness, sometimes known as the bends. Since 2017, Giordano speculated that another component, namely some form of shielded, rapidly pulsed, low gigawatt microwave, might also be involved. According to Giordano, communication of long-distance microwave effects is now possible and feasible. Long-distance microwave effects. In what appears to be a hybrid between a science fiction movie and a soap opera, more recent information harvesting has suggested a laser component, either as a targeting mechanism or as a yoking vehicle, which would transmit other forms of directed energy. One of Giordano's specialty is the techno-yoking of human to machine. Giordano was asked, do you believe these targeted attacks are the unintended secondary effects resulted from focused intelligence gathering? His reply was direct. Indeed, that's certainly possible, and it's one of the considerations early on that the side effects were artifacts of sophisticated surveillance technology. What remains a mystery is whether it is surveillance and disruptive engagement, intentional disruptive engagement, and just how many directed energy weapons were involved. Is a sophisticated technology base required to develop such capability? The United States has had dedicated programs in sonic and microwave technologies that could be used for a variety of industrial purposes, which could then have dual-use applications. Other countries, such as Russia and China, also have their own brands of EEW to include sonic, ultrasonic, and microwave weaponry. These types of technologies assess the integrity and vulnerability of organic and inorganic matter. Due to intellectual property rights, the purveyors of such technologies are somewhat shielded from public or constitutional scrutiny. Giordano conveys that once the readiness level has been achieved, allowing for scalability, fieldability, and operationalization, such as we saw with SARS-CoV-2, weapons can be rapidly and cryptically deployed globally to both state and non-state actors, as well as violent extremists and super-empowered individuals. What does Giordano see for defending ourselves from such attacks? One, he is a staunch proponent of radical leveling, which is the fusion of man and machine. The other involves newly emerging biotechnologies. He emphasizes that these defense technologies need to be sustained and augmented to meet the risk and threat. Biotechnology is considered non-kinetic form of engagement to a present danger. The first tests were against high-value targets, those with professional qualifications and roles. Once the target was achieved, it resulted in the cascading or rippling of disruptive events. While beta tests were localized, the rippling effects were manifest in and across social, political, military, and global influence and power domains. Well, what about attacks on average Americans? In Giordano's own words, quote, certainly more diverse and diffused engagement of this sort against the general population, with some randomness, is capable of inducing a mass reactive public effect. Giordano also says it would be both tactically and strategically viable and valuable for an opponent to intentionally incur such a psychogenic effect among the general population so as to manifest concerns among the worried well as among those who may be somewhat more psychologically predisposed to concern, worry, and reaction. Additionally, continued uncertainties about the nature of the device, its actual technological specifications, and the pattern of its use against particular targets can contribute to what is known as the fog of engagement, or the fog of war. Although one must be cautious about equating such AHI with acts of war, at least as based upon currently accepted definitions under international law. During this fog of engagement, disruptive events and effects have rippling manifestations within the social, psychological, economic, political, national safety, and security domains. At the same time, this fog enables the aggressor to further modify or improve the device and/or its delivery methods. When queried, is there any way to track and triangulate where these attacks were originating at present? Giordano did not respond. Initiatives to ban such weapons are either classified, buried, unclassified, or not readily accessible. Giordano does favor international development, guidance, and governance of these technologies. Now, what about liminal warfare? Liminal, liminal warfare. Well, it's a pyramid. Response threshold, that's overt conflict, that's the top of the pyramid. Down from that is attribution threshold, and then detection threshold. At the very bottom is clandestine activity. You can see all this at jellyfish.news. Jellyfish.news. Warfare in general appears to be gravitating toward liminal warfare. Liminal warfare is the modern-day equivalent to covert operations that might be detected, but remains cloaked with many mysteries surrounding the technology. This type of warfare is very difficult to prove or refute. Only those in the shadows know for sure. The conclusion? What do I know for sure? The exotic DEWs have been scaled, fielded, and operationalized. What does this mean for you and me? We can be hit at any time from a variety of weapons sourced from over extremely long distances. These weapons can disrupt our brains and our bodies as we are biological beings. Recovering from this type of attack will be difficult, but it is possible. It is likely we'll never know who hit us. But if you're an agenda person, you can presume that's why you were targeted. The higher professional that you are, or the greater influencer that you are, given the political climate, you might well become a target. Be safe. And God's protective covering over each of you. Now, some people may say, oh yeah, well, sure. What do you think? You believe that you may have had a directed energy weapon pointed at you and somebody pulled the trigger? Maybe. Do you hear ringing, buzzing, chirping, metallic sounds in your hearing? Feel a little wobbly? Stuff like that? Yeah. I know the feeling. I really do. But there are countermeasures. I want to mention something about Norbert Heuser. Now, the ad that you hear playing on Caravan to Midnight Radio will say, read the data. If you go to ctstore.com, click on Quantum Protection, you'll go to Norbert's website. There you will read the findings of the BESA Institute of Austria, BESA, BESA Institute. It's a real thing. And they only certify something like his plates, his normalizing plates, his harmonizing plates. They only certify them for 2 years so that it doesn't remain Stone Age. As advancements come along and information comes forward, well, they reevaluate every 2 years. But I do believe you'll find, if you make an investment in these plates, you think to yourself, this is ridiculous, this can't do anything. Au contraire, mon frère, mon femme. They do work. Matter of fact, people who have bought the big plate, it's about this big around, about like a generous dessert plate, or maybe a salad plate. You put that thing in your home, there's a 300-foot diameter range. You can't run from EMR. These plates actually harmonize it, and the BESA Institute of Austria says they work. There's a small one about this big around for your key ring. There's an intermediate-sized one for your small office or a small apartment or something. And then there's the big one. I recommend that you look into this deeply. Just take a look at it. Read the data, and you'll see this is the real thing. And these plates might go a long way to mitigating this, because I can tell you, since we have installed them pretty much everywhere we go, in the car, in the office, the small office, in the big studio area, in the home, well, fewer disruptions occur. I can't really go into detail. I could, but it wouldn't be discreet, wouldn't be cool to do so. But we experience a lot of strange stuff. But we experience a lot less of it by way of these DEWs with these plates. You might want to take a look at this. If any of this stuff sounds familiar to you, go over to ctmstore.com, click on Quantum Protection. And speaking of which, these little pendants, they work. They're very inexpensive, and they work. And remember, your pets are vulnerable to this stuff also. It doesn't hurt a thing to hang one of these quantum scalar energy pendants around your puppy or your kitty cat's neck. Just put it on their little collar. They won't know what they'd be thanking you for, otherwise they would thank you for doing that. But any living biological creature is going to be affected by electromagnetic radiation. And again, you can't run from it, but you can harmonize it. So do your best, because we're all in this together. And the ones who are aware, the ones who are awake, the ones who are interested, the ones who want to break away, even if it's only psychologically, maybe they can't break away physically from the current apparatus that poses as a civilization. Still, you can have your own little sub-civilization where you run your program. That's the whole idea of make ready for what's to come. Run your program. Because the so-called President of the United States, we know exactly how he got there. We know exactly why, who, and to whom this country has been screwed over and sold out. We know who did it. And we know who we got sold out to. That doesn't mean we have to roll over for any of it. Always remember what that young man, the Canadian sniper, an entire brigade can be completely demoralized by one mere rifleman. How many times has this happened in history? Are you promoting violence? Certainly not. What I'm saying is that causes are much, much smaller than their effects. When we think of a breakaway civilization like, let's all run over there, hey, we're all going that way. The breakaway civilization starts with each and every one of us. We are all individuals. And the very first thing in the formulation of your breakaway civilization is to break away in here first, and everything else follows. Okay? And don't forget about X-Point. That's a physical breakaway, and it's great. It's very, very cool, and there are still some bunkers available. 80 feet long, 26 feet wide, 12.5-foot high ceilings, domed, thick, steel reinforced, military grade, built by Uncle Sam himself back in the day, back in the 40s. These things are so cool you can't believe it. And speaking of cool, yeah, it gets cold in South Dakota in the winter. That goes for hot summer weather too. Yeah, you can lease it. You can do what you want, but you own it. And it's a good place to go if stuff gets bad.
Okay, I think that's yeah. I don't subscribe to his bunkers, but I mean, if you could afford $60,000, um, go right ahead. You know.
Project Command. Stand by power transfer. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Continuing there from yesterday. That's what. See, guys, I've been manifesting for quite some time now, but I've really kicked it up a notch the past couple of weeks when I've been taking a break. You know, I really haven't been taking a break. I've been doing things. If you haven't noticed, my shorts are all intended to spark uh, spark thought. You know, provoke my technomancy, in other words. Anyway, me and Mr. Wells have a connection through his secretary that's in charge of the web connections and stuff, and he sends me show notifications. Probably a lot of other people too that they're connected with, but um, I've had conversations with the guys, and they want me on the show, but I told them I wasn't quite ready for that spotlight. Um, I I might be ready for it now. I don't know. It takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks to set up something, and you know, I really think it's going. If I had went through with the last invitation, I would have probably aired on the show last week or a week before. You know, so and then I wouldn't have known what I know now about certain things. But I do have a way. You know, those plates he mentioned. Um, Examine them if you can't afford to buy them. Examine how they're constructed. Use RefSeek search engine and search those terms. You know, quantum scalar. What do you call them? Anyway, um, review this video. Review Wells's broadcast. You know, and go to Jellyfish News and you can subscribe if you want. You know, but I'm not promoting Wells's products, you know, but I mean, he does have some good products. I know certain friend of mine doesn't like Wells, and you know, this certain person doesn't like a lot of Christian people, but I don't necessarily share that. That's their own views, you know. But um, I do think everyone should listen to him, you know. But I have a way to fight back. I have that the weapon basically to utilize. I've got the blueprints for what's called well, just I'm I've talked about it before. Everybody knows about the nanoparticles, and there is a device that will make them dance, so to speak. Okay, and I have the blueprints for that device. And what you do with it is up to you. If you make one, you know it does. We have been stripped of our Radio Shacks anymore, so obtaining any electronics will be only available by order online. And I'm not too sure how long the supply chain and the online, the internet's going to be in the coming weeks. So it'd be necessary to do this probably today and tomorrow if you want to. Email me. You can find I'll drop my email in the description, and I will send you for free the blueprints to this device. I'm not going to say what it is in this video. I've mentioned it before. If you want to go back and look, because I want people to go back and watch all my stuff that I've done in the past 3 months. It's essential, and to follow those links yourself, and to follow the URLs, and get the PDFs. If you want my information, I'll happily send it to you via Telegram or email. But I got the PDF on that specific device that, if, so to speak, an army of vaccinated people come running at you, or an individual that's got the nanoparticles in them comes at you, you could point this device at them and pretty much splat. They're toast. So this device will be essential if there is any kind of uprising led by our militia to take back the government, which is being talked about. I'm going to showcase those videos about the vets being angry and wanting to fight back against the veterans hospitals mandate that the veterans get the roll up your sleever. Everybody knows what we're talking about. No, I don't even have to say it. But the veterans are being mandated to get it if they want medical care. This is going to bleed over into Medicaid and Medicare real soon. I almost guarantee it. And that will threaten my disability check and everyone else's that doesn't want this abomination that will turn you into a beast. What was that? Oh, it's probably Princess. Oh no, that's the neighbor's dog. I got a Scottish terrier over there. He likes to bark. He probably won't shut up now. But anyway, he's been good for the past several months about barking. But so if you want that information, I'll email it to you. There's also here pretty soon. I wanted to include this in my live stream, but I'm gonna drop it right now. Here pretty soon, you're probably going to see a lot of drones and unidentified aircraft. And if you want to fight back against those, most of those are going to be piloted by somebody with eyeballs, looking through a camera through the drone and piloting them. These little pocket pinpointer lasers are available on Wish for $1. I still think they're available, and they can be modified to have the output with the standard battery in it, with the transistor attachment in the inside. If you take it apart and add this transistor, it'll pop balloons, it'll fry retinas through a camera, remote camera, and so therefore, if you're being attacked by a drone or something like that, illegally, because it's illegal for drones to be used in that manner in the airspace of the United States, you have every right to fight back in every means possible. So obtaining several of these, they're only $1, these laser pointers, just by themselves are able to blind anything being piloted by pointing at them at a pretty fair range, a pretty darn good range. I mean, I've shot them up in the sky at night, and they beam for quite some distance, So these are the same laser pointers that people were getting in trouble with back in the 90s for uh, blinding pilots, and they're 3,000 feet or so up in the air to 30,000 feet, and these and the laser pointers from the 90s were blinding them, uh, you know, in the early 2000s and 90s. So what do you think the ones these days will do? And you can also get on YouTube, and if I think the videos are still up. It's been years, but you put in laser pointer pops balloon or something like that, or modified laser uh, pin pocket, or modified laser pointer, and you'll find some videos where these guys have these pretty good sized, about as big around as a broomstick, and about a foot long, these laser pointers, and they're popping balloons and uh, heating up stuff with them, and stuff. You can obtain those uh, still, I think, if you do your search results just right, and find people selling those modified laser pointers. Now, though, those were take out. Sorry, guys, my nose is itching. Those will take out anything that's being piloted, pretty much, that has human eyes to see, and even if it's being AI controlled, and it's got a camera on it that's essential to its navigation, or like an IR sensor, or anything that can be heated up. Um, these laser pointers will be essential. And also, thanks to Monograph, this technique for disabling any walking drones with, the dog drones, the four-legged robots, that you get fishing net and throw over them. Now, concerning the small little suicide drones that would fly up next to your head and blow up, or fly through your window and blow up, um, if you're scared of something like that happening to you, I would put military camouflage netting, or something similar over your windows, or uh, in like a frame dome over your windows, kind of like frame some chicken wire and then put that netting over it. I know it might look funny, but um, taking precautions is better than being dead. And if you're a targeted individual that might think they're going to come after you with a drone, that would probably be the best avenue of stopping them, is having some chicken wire doubled over, so there's hardly any gap there, and dome it out over your windows. Stick it out in a like a oval dome over your windows, up like a pill shape, half a pill shape, over your windows, a capsule, encapsulate your windows. So, but you can still open your windows and have airflow there, and then put a military camo netting, or black mesh netting, type of like a garden netting, for some things. But there are ways to fight back. Also, can you see that? I've got EMF. Uh, I got EMF protection in my hat and in my hats. You just get one of those EMF blankets. You can get them off of Amazon, and also you cut out little circles that have EMF protection in all your hats for about 12 bucks or 20 bucks for a big sheet of this stuff. And I cover up my phone and my house phone, my landline, at night when I go to sleep with these EMF blankets, so the shit don't bother me, and sometimes I unplug my computer from the internet, or uh, or cover the router up, gets pumping out the Wi-Fi, But the only thing that's connected in my house to Wi-Fi is my phone, and it's not even. I'm not even running Wi-Fi right now, because right now I got free unlimited network, internet and texting and stuff. from the COVID plans they had running for the Obama phones, the free cell phones. Assurance Wireless is what I've got. So yeah, let me think here. So EMF shielding, and if you I'll tell you what, you know, if you're not wanting to get attacked by the weaponry that's available that they're going to roll out on us if there's some sort of uprising, you're going to want to make yourself an orgonite or orgone helmet. Orgonite or orgone helmet. You take orgonite and bust it up, or slice it up, or powderize it, and then get you some epoxy resin. You know, you get your orgonite material or your orgonite stones, and metal shards you can get from machining shops, or order yourself some metal shavings and little metal powder or whatever, stainless steel or ferrous iron woodwork powder, magnetic shavings, and you mix them up with some quartz, some busted up quartz, and metal and orgonite stones, and then you mix them up in epoxy resin. And what you want to do is you want to form a helmet or a skull cap and a breastplate for over your heart, and one for behind your on your back too. And anybody going to conduct any warfare against the powers that come against us, for us fighting for our freedoms that we're being persecuted against, you know, they're trying to kill us, you know. They are actively running a eugenics depopulation program, and it's gonna get heated. It's gonna get really nasty, and it's gonna seem like we get overwhelmed if we even step out of line. You know what I mean? But given these tools that I'm talking about, with the harmonizing plates and the orgone, basically that's a harmonizing plate. It'll deflect and absorb any resonating frequencies that would affect you, like the Havana Syndrome would, because they're gonna use weapons against the masses that rise up. And if you're not equipped with an orgone or orgonite helmet, breastplate, and backplate, and you know, these little pendants aren't going to work. You're going to have to shield your magnet, your heart, and you're going to have to shield your brain with a helmet, like a motorcycle helmet. And so I'll leave that up to you as to how to construct all those things. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just telling you, because I'm not going to get busted for uh, giving out details of weapons. This device that makes the nanoparticles dance is not designed in the blueprints as a weapon, but you know, and I know what they designed it for. And if I can get everybody to have their own, and you know, before they roll out the handheld devices for the UN and the Chinese troops, and well, even our own military, we can't really trust that right now with that Millie character in charge, and the entire woke program that's going on, and everybody leaving due to the mandates, and God knows what they're going to do, you know. So but these people we'll be fighting against will all be vaccinated, so they'll all have the nanoparticles in them, you know. So we'll be able to basically command and control them if we have these devices. So I implore you to email me. I'll email you the PDF. Hopefully, it doesn't take me a week to get everybody's. If you mass email me, and I expect at least 5 to 10 of you guys that I know will want this information. Oh, Teresa, fucking digital mobile post. Teresa, just messaged me. I'm surprised. I woke her up, I guess. But anyway, guys, what else was I gonna say? Going on about an hour here, and it's gonna take a little bit to upload, but I'm gonna upload this and get back to sleep, or maybe I won't. Just depends on what the news is looking like now. Joe, how the hell do you know so? I do research. I fucking stick my nose in places where it don't belong. Nobody's ever come against me about it yet, and when I expect every day when I wake up to hear that knock on the front door. Mr. Walker, can we talk to you for a minute? Peace out, motherfuckers. Mr. Mission Control's out of here.